Hey, everybody. This is Jo Lynn Bright, also known as JLB in the house, and we want to welcome you to Studio 2501 podcast, conversations about mental health and wellness. And we're so glad that if you're joining us just to hear our voices or you're joining us to see our faces and hear our voices, just thanks for choosing to be with us today. We want to thank our presenting sponsor, Hoydale. We love them and we appreciate them coming alongside of us. And then also our generous community partners and friends of HopeNet. Thank you for sponsoring this time together. And we're excited for today because on today's episode, we have the Miss Erin Rolfe in the house, Miss Kansas Teen. Hello.
Hello. I'm so happy to be here. I'm so excited. Thank you for having me.
Yes. And I usually thank our guests for saying yes, because you could have said no.
Yeah.
And I'm just glad you did that. And they don't know, but it's 9:00 in the morning. So teens do get up.
Yeah, we get up a little late.
But in the summer, we're really glad about that. And we want to really kind of highlight today, Erin specifically chosen for this time because the month of July is Minority Mental Health Month, and we're going to invite Erin to you to share your story, to talk about that and your platform. And I'm so glad that you picked mental health. I'll let you tell all of that.
Yeah.
But we just want to just shout out to that and say we're being intentional about having you on right now. Yes. So, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Tell us about Erin. We want to know everything. Where did you grow up? What's going on?
Okay.
All of that.
Okay. So I'm from Wichita, Kansas.
Yes.
I was born here, and I've lived here up until I was 6, and then we moved to Houston, Texas for my dad's job.
Oh, wow.
When I was going into first grade. And then in Houston, we stayed there for about 7 years until 2019. And then we came back to Wichita. And in Texas, I was able to kind of learn more about myself. I was growing up. I'm
just going to stop you on the whole Houston thing because that's all that's in my mind. People from Houston just love on me for a little bit right now. But when I think about how old you were when you went and when you left, you were able to experience Houston traffic, right?
Yes, it was crazy. And the difference from going to Houston and coming back to Wichita, it was crazy because we had to leave the house 30, 45 minutes early just to get places on time. Because I know my school, it was maybe about 15, 20 minutes from our house. We would have to leave 30, 45 minutes early just to be on time, close to on time.
But I almost had a panic attack driving through, and this was a drive-through, just driving through. But I'm proud of your whole family for experiencing Houston. So
yes, my mom, she had some trouble with the driving too at first.
We're not calling out your mom. We cannot call out your mom on the driving. In Houston, but we are back in Wichita, and that was in 2019 that you guys came back.
Yes.
Okay, and you said you were learning some things about yourself in Houston. And
yes, I found my love for soccer. I started playing club soccer when I was in Houston. And I also kind of started getting into singing. When I was in 7th grade, before I left, I joined the choir and the music class. So I kind of got into singing. I did my first solo at a concert. So that was fun. And then I moved back and I was in 8th grade then, and I kind of started to get to explore that more. I started doing voice lessons with my amazing voice teacher, Miss Winters, who's still my voice teacher to this day.
Okay, shout, you can wave.
Yes, shout out Miss Winters if you're watching this. She's so awesome, and she's helped me so much. And then when I was a freshman, I started getting into musicals. I did The Wizard of Oz.
Oh, yay.
Yes, and I got cast as Dorothy, which was so exciting because I really thought I was going to be in the ensemble or something. I thought I was going to be in the background. Then to be cast as Dorothy was so crazy, and it was so much fun, especially as a freshman. I was so young in my pretty much first musical. So it was really fun.
That's it. I have 2 questions around the Wizard of Oz in Dorothy.
Yeah.
Were the shoes red?
Yes, they were. Well, the original shoes, I'm pretty sure, were silver.
Oh,
the very original shoes.
Okay.
But the ones I wore were red.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's That's cool. I love
Yeah.
that. And so are there other singers in your family? I mean, where is that coming from?
You see, I really don't know. My dad would like to say he's a good singer, but my grandpa, he really would sing a lot. Him and his brothers, they had a singing group, and they would kind of sing a little bit. So I think I get it from him, really.
Okay,
but like
you just cut your dad off.
Sorry, Dad. He knows.
But let's just let him claim it like for a little while. Okay, is that fair?
Maybe for a little bit.
Just for a little while. So, but that's kind of interesting that like you just kind of happened into that, like, ooh, I found this.
Yes.
And I'm glad that what you said kind of when I was in Houston, I kind of discovered some things about myself. That's really cool.
Yeah.
And so I'm not from Wichita, but I remember when I moved to Wichita, I remember seeing your dad, like maybe on TV or something like that. Like, I don't know, it was like Visit Wichita or something like that.
My dad, he used to work at Visit Wichita. He's now at the Chamber of Commerce.
Yes. And so the thing is that you leaving and coming back, so there must be some draw for your family to be here at this time in history. Yes. So from 2019 until now, what's been happening with Erin?
So kind of where I left off with musicals. Okay. So I've been doing the musical every year, my freshman, sophomore, junior year. Sophomore year, it was Legally Blonde. And then junior year, it was Grease, and I played Rizzo. So that was just last year. Okay. And I've done a lot of stuff with Music Theater Wichita as well. So I was in their live holiday show, which was in December of 2022, so not too long ago. And that was so much fun. I got to work with ensemble members and professionals, so that was really awesome. And I was one of the 17 who were picked for that. So that was pretty cool. And then this summer, I'm going to be in their the Rising Stars Youth Ensemble, which is very fun. And they asked me to be a performing intern for Ragtime in August. So that's super exciting. I'm so excited for that.
It's like you're just lighting up.
Yes.
Is that a part, is the singing part that's something that is really causing, well, I guess, gives you a way of expressing, like, this is who I am? Yes,
exactly. And I'm sure we'll talk about it later, but with my community service initiative, I will completely get into that because you're right. You already got it.
I know, because you're giving it away, so don't worry about that.
Yeah.
So I see you have a sash on. You have your sash on. For those of you that can't see, but she does have her sash on. And my question, like, when I first met you, just one question that came to me is, what made Erin choose to participate in a pageant?
So this is my recent adventure, my most recent adventure. I was crowned Miss Kansas Teen March 18th, a few months ago, not that long ago, but it seems like it's been so long. It's been so fun. But why I chose to do pageants was really mainly because my mom kind of introduced me to the Miss America organization. Okay. And we watched a couple of years ago. I watched the national pageant. So I watched when Marcel LeBlanc was crowned. So that was pretty cool. And then I watched my friend compete, and she competed at Miss Kansas Outstanding Teen. And when I was watching, I was just like, wow, I really want to do that. But not only because of the performing aspect and being on the stage and having the opportunity to be on a bigger stage, but the scholarship opportunities. So the Miss America organization is a scholarship pageant, which is so cool because not a lot of pageants have that. And just by literally competing in the competition and walking across the stage, you can earn scholarship money. And by winning, I earned $6,500. So,
congratulations.
Thank you. And plus, in-kind sponsorships, so schools that sponsor the pageant, and also I earned scholarship money from my awards that I gained. So,
So if there is a young woman, a young girl, or a teen, what advice would this Erin, that's the winner, sitting here right now, what would you say if they're even thinking about, like, oh, I don't know, I'm scared, I think about it, but I wonder if I could, what would you say to them?
I would just encourage them to do it because it's so much fun. And this was my first ever pageant ever. And I learned so much about myself. I gained interview skills. I learned how to market myself. I learned speaking skills. And as well as that, I made really great friends throughout the week. And also, again, I earned scholarship money, which is so awesome because we know like college is expensive.
Yes,
so
yes.
it's going to be so helpful, especially since I'm going to college next year.
Well, we know that Nike is not paying you, okay, right now to say that, but I heard you just say, just do it.
Yeah.
Just if you're thinking about it, just go ahead and do it.
Yes.
Let's switch a little bit to mental health. And I know that that's your platform. What made you pick that? What was the journey to that?
Yes. So I've had my own mental health journey. I have anxiety, and it's something that I've struggled with kind of for a while. And especially in December of 2020, my anxiety got really, really bad. And I just realized it wasn't something I could, handle by myself. So I sought out therapist, and I went through therapy for a few months. And it was just so really rewarding to really work through my anxiety and to learn different techniques and ways that I can deal with it so that my anxiety doesn't affect me on a daily basis how it was before. And there is still days where, it will be bad, but there's also, there's so many more days where it's so much better.
A lot of people are probably loving hearing that because there may be a 40-year-old right now that's saying, I was feeling that when I was Erin's age, and I didn't tell anybody. I'm glad the Kleenex are here. I don't know, that brought tears to my eyes a little bit. But we didn't know how to name it or even tell. And I will just say, because I'm going to ask you, so I want you to think about it. Because when you just told the story, it was like, I felt this, thought about it, went and talked to somebody. And I know when we're even talking about minority mental health, that the stories that were either spoken or the words that were spoken or messages spoken or unspoken about going to get help.
Yeah.
Okay. And so the thing is, I want you to think about what was that like to say, I'm making a decision to go see an outside person, somebody outside of my family, outside of my circle, outside of my church maybe, and I'm going to tell them that I'm wrestling with something that's hard.
Yeah.
So I know the messages, maybe they were unspoken, but I grew up in a smaller town, and I didn't even know what a therapist was. Okay, I'm a lot older than you, probably a lot older than your parents. And I just thought what we were supposed to do was to only tell people at my house, in my house, or to tell the pastor.
Yeah.
Okay. You don't tell anybody else if you have struggles. So what now? I mean, you're a lot younger than me in a new day. Did you hear any of those same messages, or were you given some liberty and freedom and saying, let's go find someone that can help? Tell me what that looked like for you.
Yes. So it can be scary. And it was scary even for me, even though like I know my parents were so like, they're like, okay, well, we're going to do this. We'll go see a doctor, get a recommendation from a therapist.
Okay,
but
yeah.
it can just be scary to just ask. And I know for a while, like for a few weeks before, I just kind of was trying to deal with it by myself, because I'm the type of person who's like, okay, I'm going to do it by myself. I can like work through this. But, it got to the point where I was just like, okay, I need to ask for help. And that moment is scary, and it can be scary for so many people, because especially with the stigma around mental health, which is what, I'm working to help break, it can be so difficult to just say, I think I need to get help.
So it probably, when they said, what is going to be your platform, did it just come to you like right away? Like, I'm just, we have to break down this, making it a bad thing. Okay.
Yes, it just came straight to me. And my platform, my community service initiative is mental wellness. It starts with you, and it encourages you to find an outlet that helps you stay mentally happy and healthy. And kind of how we touched on before, my outlet is singing, performing, listening to music. But an outlet can be really anything, going for a walk, reading books, watching a movie, really just anything that helps you stay mentally happy and healthy in those times where, you get stressed, and life can get very stressful sometimes. So it's good to have something.
That's good. And I hear you say, I went and got help, and it sounds like your person taught you some new skills, maybe some things you didn't know before. What were some things that you found to be helpful?
Yeah, so one thing I've kind of struggled with is being a perfectionist. So, and
Ooh,
thinking,
nuh-uh. Okay, Erin, we should not be in this room together. We should not. Okay, we gonna be all right? We may need a session after this with the two of us being together. So perfectionism, okay?
yes, and like stressing before events. And my therapist, she talked with me, said, okay, well, what's the worst thing that could happen? And to go through those things before I go into the event, if I'm scared or if I'm feeling stressed about it. And that really helped me, work through different things, because I think, oh, what's the worst thing that could happen? And then I think, well, could that really happen? Probably not. So it's like, okay, well, why am I stressing about this thing, that I really can't control and that I really shouldn't be worrying so much about?
HopeNet, we have therapists, and I'm been one of them for several years. And I think when we look at a lot of depression, a lot of anxiety that comes through the door, comes into the house. And I try to tell people, if you really think about what really holds up anxiety is fear.
Yeah.
And those fears take on so many different faces.
Yes.
Like somebody's not going to like me, or I'm going to mess up and not be seen as perfect, or whatever. And so it's that getting to the root of, what am I afraid of right now in this very moment?
Yeah.
So kudos to your helper, the person who you got to see. You said, I went and I asked my parents. And so we're not going to call them out or anything, because apparently you got help.
Yes.
But what helped you get over the fear to just ask or to tell, I'm struggling a little bit? Yes. And how did they respond?
Again, I think it was really just, realized for myself that I couldn't handle it on my own.
Ooh,
I knew I needed help to work through it, because it was something like, and I've had a kind of anxiety for a while, but it never been this bad. So I just realized I needed to get some help to work through this. And not only did having therapy or going to therapy sessions help with my anxiety, but also it helped in different aspects of my life as well. But just going to I asked my parents, and they were like, okay, we're going to go to the doctor.
Yeah,
so I went to my doctor, my
Mm-hmm.
pediatrician, and then she recommended a therapist. And it is kind of a difficult conversation, because it's hard to ask. And I think especially in, again, with mental health today, it can be so scary. And it was kind of scary for me, but thankfully my parents, they were very, accepting. They were willing to take me to a doctor, take me to a therapist, because I know sometimes parents aren't willing to do that.
And we called your mom out on the traffic in Houston, called your dad out on the singing, but kudos to them for listening to you and then saying, we're going to address this. We want to walk this out with you. So I really appreciate you saying that. And I think there's lots of parents that would do the exact same if we would just tell, if we would just say, I'm struggling a little bit. But for those that can't, maybe there's a teacher, or maybe there's a close friend or a friend's parent or whatever that can help you talk to your parents or whatever. So hopefully that's helpful to you all. I remember something that you had the courage to say to us at HopeNet. We were having a big event at Chicken and Pickle, and you knew. This was so courageous of you, Erin. You said, I have lots of appearances and my schedule's really tight, and I would love to, but I can't. And so we walked away from that saying, she is doing what she's learned to do, that she had the courage to say, I would love to, however, I'm not going to be able to do that. And we really, really respected that. So talk a little bit about how you're setting boundaries and, setting limits, and how do you know when I'm venturing into a space that is not going to be good?
Yes, that comes with, for me, being self-aware. And sometimes, it may sound bad, but you have to put yourself first and your mental health first. So I'm such a busy person, especially now that I have the title.
Yes.
And for me, it just comes with, am I going to be able to do this? Or am I pushing myself too far with this? And really balancing my time and making sure that I'm having time for myself as well. Because I'm a person, I get tired. Everyone does.
You get tired?
I get tired. I get, stressed out sometimes. So I really just have to make sure, and I have to think to myself, am I doing okay? And if I do this, is it going to be too much? Am I pushing myself too far?
Okay. And what kind of signs or signals come up for you? Is it weariness, or I'm tired, or Or is it how many things it's this week or what's coming?
Yes, definitely when I get tired and I'm extra tired, I'm like, okay, I need to take a break. And sometimes things can get, when I feel I'm getting overwhelmed, that's when I can kind of realize, okay, I think I need to take some time for myself, or maybe I need to, not do this many things, or maybe just do 2 things this weekend and not do, 5 or 10.
Yeah. Like you want to because your brain wants to, but maybe you think you do.
Yes, because I would love to do everything.
Yes,
I love doing the events, but sometimes you do have to think, can I do this and will it be good for myself and my mental health?
And the thing is, I think the message that you even send right now at a young age is start doing that now.
Yes.
Don't wait until you're in a career and you're burnt like toast and you just know that that's just what I do. I just keep on going and don't know how to say no.
Yeah.
Especially during your single years. That's all I'm going to. Do I need therapy right now? I'm probably telling on myself, but I love that you got it. You're getting it right now. And Erin, you also said there's still some days that are hard.
Yes.
And how do you ask for help then? Who do you go to? What's your go-to when it's still hard now?
When it's still hard for me now, I think I definitely just turn back to my therapist and the strategy she taught me.
Okay.
And that really finding an outlet is what she taught me. So for me now, it could just be meditating. That helps me a lot. Or just listening to music. It helps me. Or sometimes I go for a run while listening to music.
Yeah.
And it just helps me to clear my head and, get away from the house and just get out and experience nature really helps me.
Okay.
I like being outside sometimes, so it just helps me clear my mind. But really just turning to different strategies to help me. And if it ever gets too bad, sometimes I do go back to therapy. And therapy is fun. I think sometimes I love talking to my therapist.
Like, hey, I need to check in.
Yeah, I love talking to her just because therapy, you can really just talk about anything. And sometimes it feels good to just get everything off your chest, especially to someone who's just willing to listen.
As being a therapist, I think the most powerful thing that people, when they walk into the room, that they know is that you can't tell.
Yeah.
That confidentiality piece.
Yes.
That I'm going to tell them this. They're not going to judge me on that. They're going to try to help me, and they're not going to tell.
Yeah.
Not unless there's something that's life-threatening or something like that. But that's the beauty of that. I know you're thinking about a proclamation day, or that by the time this airs, probably like done.
Yes. So on Tuesday, July 11th,
we're
having a proclamation with the city council. It's for Minority Mental Health Awareness Day in Wichita. So July 11th will now be Minority Mental Health Awareness Day, and I'm super excited. I'm going to talk a little bit, and hopefully I can have some others speak too. It's really exciting.
Okay, that's good. What made you think to pursue that?
Yes, so just knowing that July is Minority Mental Health Month is so important, because I feel among different minority groups, mental health is so big, but it's not really recognized how important it is and how important it is to take care of it. And I feel like there is especially stigma in minority groups around mental health. So it's really important to make people aware and show how important mental health is for every single person.
What did your friends think about? I mean, I don't know if you shared with your friends, but when you start saying, I'm struggling a little bit, if there were close friends, did you talk with them? Were you able to maybe even help to break down some stigma by even sharing with people of your age?
Yes. So when I was really in my struggle, I didn't really talk about it much with my friends, but after the fact, I kind of talked about it with my friends a little bit and learned that they also were struggling with anxiety and different stuff too. So it was really interesting to see how we don't really talk about it, but it was just nice to have a conversation because it was such a normal conversation, and we talked about therapy and different being on medication and stuff like that. And it was just really interesting to talk about. And it was there was no stigma around it. So I think once we really start those conversations, we can learn so many different things, and that really we can break down that stigma.
Erin, if I would have seen you during that time, what would I have seen?
You probably would see me exactly like you do right now.
and I wanted to know that, because the thing is, a lot of times we're still doing the deal. We're still going. We're still playing soccer. We're still singing. We're still hanging out with friends. But that's what other people see, but inside we don't know. So how would you recognize it in a friend? I mean, have you ever seen a friend that didn't, like, all of a sudden they're like, yay, and then they're not? And how do you approach that? I'm going to make you an expert right now. Like, what would you do? Like, if you start seeing somebody it's a little different or something's going on, what would you do?
It's really just noticing, I think, the signs and paying attention to your friends. And sometimes you may not be able to see it, but also just checking in on your friends. Like, are you doing okay? And sometimes your friends may tell you, sometimes they may not. But sometimes I think it's really paying attention. And I've also noticed some things in my friends too when I really pay close attention. And I've asked, like, are you okay? Are you doing okay? Because you can really tell if you pay attention closely when someone's feeling stressed or they're not doing their best. They're not 100%.
That's good. And I'm looking across at you, and I see this young woman, and I don't want you to make you the voice for everyone that's your age, but because there's people who are hearing you right now, and just the things that you mentioned, I want the 30-year-old, the 40-year-old, the 50-year-old, the 60-year-old to do the same thing with their friends.
Yeah.
I want them to notice. I want them to check in on people, to not isolate. And I think talking right now, we've experienced a pandemic. And so a big thing was isolation.
Yes.
And so even right now, like, getting back to that thing, if a friend comes to your mind, a family member, check in on them and see how they're doing.
Yeah.
Another good thing is, I don't know if this helps you, but I try not to ask yes and no questions. You know, or where they can just say, how are you doing?
Yeah.
What would you say?
Good. Good. How are you? Yeah.
And if we follow up with that, Erin, we say, good as evidenced by what? Like, what's making it good?
Yes.
Okay. And the thing is, you probably know this too, because you want to help your friends, is tell me the truth. Tell me really what's going on. Is it, because I'm just checking in on something.
Yes. Yeah, it's always like, especially when you're a teenager, it's like, are you okay? They're like, yeah, I'm good. But it's like, really? Like, are you really good? It's like, don't lie to me.
And the thing is, I tell people all the time, don't ask people how they're doing if you really don't want to know.
Yeah.
Or, you ready? You don't have time. If you know that you have 2 minutes to be somewhere, don't ask someone, hi, how are you doing? And they start telling you. Yeah. And the whole time your eyeballs are getting bigger and you're saying, okay,
I gotta go. Tell me later. I'll call you later. Yeah.
So I love how you're sharing your story, your platform, all of that. Is there anything else that you want to tell me or tell our audience that I have not asked you? I know that you still have another pageant.
Yes, I do have another pageant. Yeah. I will be competing in Miss America's Teen. So if you want to support me on my journey, you can donate at misskansas.org. As well as just, you could follow me on social media if you want at Miss America's Teen KS or Erin and ICT.
Okay, do it again. Do that part again. Okay. If you want to follow you.
So on Instagram and Facebook, it's Miss America's Teen KS. And also on Instagram, Erin and ICT. And on Facebook, Erin Rolfe, more my personal accounts. But if you want to follow me, support me, you can donate to me. I also will be raising money on my spot fund, which that money goes to the Miss Kansas organization and the Miss America organization. So you can donate to me there also. I'm actually trying to fundraise the most for the Miss America's Teen competition. So any donations will help. Any small donation, anything really helps.
Well, I want to say, if you haven't heard this 1,000 times, that I'm so proud of you. Just really proud of you. Thank you for, and coming from HopeNet, like mental health platform, we're like, yes, Erin, you're one of the new champions that will champion breaking down the stigma. So we really appreciate that. Before we sign out, I want you to tell people, what does it look like 5 years from now? Where's Erin going? What road is she on? What is she hoping for?
Yes, so I'm going to be a rising senior this year. So I'm looking at colleges right now. And my top colleges I'm looking at are New York University and Syracuse University. And I'm hoping to double major in musical theater and something on the pre-law track. I haven't decided yet. So
just do it all, right?
Yeah, I want to do it all.
Okay, yeah.
And so hopefully I will, attend one of those colleges, or maybe my mind might change. So wherever I go to college, but I do major in those things and then graduate and I don't know, maybe be on stage or in the courtroom or both. I really don't know, but I'll see wherever life takes me. That's
powerful, Erin. And we just wish you the best on all of that.
Thank you.
I want you to have some final words about just offering hope.
Yes.
In regards to life and whatever you want to say to our audience right now.
So some words of hope that I'd probably offer, especially for those who are struggling with their mental health, is that I know this may sound cliche, but things always do get better and there always is a light at the end of the tunnel. And I know people say that and some people may think, oh, like whatever, like that's not true, but it really is true. When you are in your darkest points, you really just have to keep going because things do always get better. And also you have to understand that, things that are meant for you will not pass you by. That's one of the biggest things that I have to remember. And that may not always pertain to my mental health, but just everything in life. You really have to understand that if you don't get something, then it was not meant for you at that time. And it's really, personally, I'm a believer in God, so I always think it's God's timing and not mine.
I'm just sitting here. I want to drop the mic or something on that, but I receive all of that. And I'm just going to say to whoever's listening that whatever Erin has just said that spoke to you, grab a hold of it. And then remember what she said too, just do it. If you're thinking about taking on something new, if you want help or need help, ask. If you're that person that really, really loves people and the people close to you, notice, what's going on with people. And I think a really big thing you said is become self-aware.
Yes.
What's going on with me?
Yes.
And to be honest with yourself, not just with others, but a call first to be honest with yourself.
Yeah.
So, man, I think you just knocked this out of the park, girl.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yes, thanks for being here. And we want to once again just thank you for listening. Thank you to our sponsors, Hoydell, and also our generous community partners and the friends of HopeNet. So if you need anything further to reach out to HopeNet, 316-684-4673, which is HOPE. It spells out hope. So we just bless you and we sign out. This is JLB in the house saying bye. Say bye, Erin. Like,
bye.
Thanks for listening to Studio 2501, conversations about mental health and wellness. Studio 2501 is hosted by Jo Lynn Bright. Jo Lynn is HopeNet's Director of Community Impact, a published author, and has been a licensed clinical therapist for over 20 years. This podcast is owned and operated by HopeNet in Wichita, Kansas. HopeNet is a faith-based nonprofit providing a wide range of mental health and wellness services, including counseling, life coaching, and trainings. For more information on HopeNet and to learn how you can help expand our mission, visit hopenetwichita.org and follow us on social media at HopeNet Wichita. Thank you.